I don't know what you do on defense. You're slow. You're not athletic. And you have no edge rusher. Ole Miss, you have no running game. Neither does Mississippi State because South Carolina knows that the quarterback's not going to run the ball.
Yeah.
It's just going to be Woody Marks. Quinshawn Judkins and Dart are very, very athletic. Bentley's a nice player. You can't run the football.
Which is a bigger surprise? The Ole Miss run game just being subpar, or Mississippi State not having a true number one on defense? But, I mean, you have Jet Johnson, who's going to be your, he's solid. But you don't have a true number one standout defensive player.
Actually, they're both shocking. Mississippi State has had talent on the defensive side of the football for the most part, years. They have been a train wreck on offense for the better part of their history. And Mullen started to correct that, and Leach started to correct that. And what they did on Saturday is not something that they've done often either. So credit to Barbay and Will Rogers and Tulu Griffin. Now with Ole Miss, we'll see when Harris comes back if he's really that big of a difference maker against SEC schools.
Yeah.
I mean, he may just be like Mingo and Malik weren't difference makers against SEC schools.
Right. Except for Vanderbilt.
Right, and that doesn't count.
Yeah.
I mean, Vanderbilt recruits like they're in the Sun Belt. So I'm talking SEC guys, not when you play roast beef state. SEC dudes across the line of scrimmage, can you make plays? And we'll see with Harris and Franklin. Mississippi State, people on Twitter had given me a hard time because I said their receiving trio was good. It is. Now, I don't know how much they're going to get him the ball this year because of this massive transition from the air raid to what Kevin Barbay wants to run. And again, this is not on Barbay or anybody else in what happened last December. But you got to see what Tulu Griffin and Justin Robinson can do. I mean, those guys can make plays, but, Will decided he was going to sling it. Barbay decided he was going to call the plays. And I think Will heard the criticism and answered the call, and that's good. That is what it's going to take. You are going to have to push the ball down the field, period. Your offensive line, neither offensive line is that good.
No.
I don't know what's going on there across the country. Bama's didn't get right till the second half, Jason. So Ole Miss disrupted Bama in the first half. And then Bama, and I don't claim to know technically what they did, or they just, now, was it Ross Tucker who said they made a switch at guard? And sometimes just one little thing helps everybody get rolling. But the bottom line is Bama committed to running between the tackles in the second half, and they controlled the game.
Yeah.
They controlled the game, and they absolutely physically whipped Ole Miss in the second half, pounding the rock, because they don't, Milroe's not, he had all day at times and still couldn't figure out what he wanted to do, which takes me to some audio that I want to drop when it comes to Will Rogers, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Jaden Daniels, and so on. By the way, I will get to A&M and Auburn. Y'all are asking my thoughts there because both of our teams play them in the next few weeks.
Of course, coming up.
Yeah. And I think you should look at what Auburn looked like on offense and give Zach Arnett and his group a little bit of a break. Hugh Freeze is an established coach in Power 5 and G5. He was at Ole Miss for several years, proved he could win. Went to Liberty, proved he could win. They looked awful. They didn't have their coach pass away and have to name a coach within 24, 48 hours so that the roster doesn't go out the door, and that coach happens to have no head coaching experience. I would think about that.
Don't miss one moment of the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.